Hey friends, it's Amber with Amber Marie and Company. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is what I call a cheat wreath. So here we go. Hit that subscribe button, or as my mom would say, smash that subscribe button and follow our channel. Link to all of our social channels. We're always doing something crazy. You just never know. But today it's all about cheating on our wreath. Get ready. Here we go. Alright, so here's how you cheat with a wreath, okay? And it's not cheat, it's just like a leg up. It just helps, right? So we sell these beautiful wreaths just like this at Amber Marine Company. And quite honestly, you could throw a bow on this wreath, fluff it, and be done. And it looks gorgeous. You can absolutely do that. And I cannot tell you how many years, how many times that's just exactly what we do. However, what I also like about these wreaths is that I like to call them cheat wreaths or starter wreaths, because I am going to actually take this and the beautiful fullness of this wreath, and I'm going to make it even more amazing. So you can see it has these really pretty oak leaves on it. It has all of these acorns on it, and I don't want to hide those. Like, I want to just accentuate and accent that. So I'm going to take, and the very first thing I'm going to do is pull all of that up and away from my wreath. Look at that. Those little acorns, I want those sticking out so that people can see. So I'm going to pull those up and away from my wreath the best that I can. All of my leaves up and out, away from my wreath, giving it all air and room to breathe. So you see that? Do you see, if I show this kind of on edge, how I'm pulling all of this? It comes to you on this wreath just flat. But I don't want it flat. I mean, y'all know, I got big hair, right? I like to poof it. I like to tease it. I want that to be nice and full and volume, right? That's what I'm going with. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to add some really pretty sprays that complement. This is a different leaf color, a different leaf texture, and a different leaf shape. This is the maple leaf spray. So I'm going to be adding, and I bought all of these in 3. So I'm going to be adding 3 of those. I actually also have this really pretty dahlia spray to add in green, and I have it in orange. And then I also brought over here some of these lanterns. Look at those orange lanterns, so pretty. Chinese lanterns, I love them. So I'm going to add all of this to this wreath just to make it full, and like I said, it's my cheat wreath, okay? I'm also going to be placing in a couple of pumpkins in here as well. And then I'm coming in with this awesome ribbon. So look at this. This is a corduroy ribbon, orange corduroy. You got to look at the texture of this. It's absolutely amazing. Look at that. Corduroy ribbon. How cool is that? Pretty on the back. Nice corduroy ribbon. Then I'm going to come in with this ribbon. Now this ribbon is going to be an accent, but I have to tell you, it's so pretty. It's this pumpkin embroidered on chambray, and this is a high quality ribbon, but it's also not cheap. So that's why this is just going to be an accent. See how pretty that blue is going to look? Whew, so pretty. Then I have this really pretty green velvet that I thought would complement and accent all of that really well. So there's my green velvet. There's my pumpkin in here. And then you guys have seen me use this already in previous videos, but it's that 1-inch blue velvet. And that's going to just top it all off and make it spectacular. So y'all ready to do this? Right along with me. Let's see what kind of craziness we can use. Now, every wreath starts out differently. I never know if I'm going to put the bow on first or not, but let's make the bow first, because the size of the bow that I make, you know, sometimes that really determines a lot on our project. So let me get this big wreath out of the way here, and let me start with my bow. Now, sorry guys, my table is dirty. I just filmed another video earlier today, so sorry about that. I've got my ribbon out. I'm going to grab 2 zip ties out of my drawer here, because I zip tie. I'm the zip tie queen. Okay, I'm leaving some out here of this ribbon for my tail of my bow. And I'm going to just start by squeezing that right there. This is the very first loop of my bow here. I'm going to twist that. And this is the base loop. This corduroy is the base of my bow. And I'm making what I call a funky bow. And a funky bow means it's like a Y. 2 on one side, 1 on the other. and then you basically just repeat that pattern several times. All right, so I'm going to cut this. I'm leaving these tendrils kind of long because I have an idea that I might do, but I got to see how it looks in the end before I'm not going to commit to it yet, y'all. Sorry. All right, so there we have that pretty corduroy back in the orange. Then on top of that, I'm going to add this ribbon. Now, I'm not going to go crazy with this ribbon because it comes on a 5-yard roll because it's expensive. It is an expensive ribbon. I mean, that's all embroidered, and then it's 2-sided chambray. So this is not a cheap ribbon. It's a high quality, but also expensive ribbon. So I'm not going to use an awful lot. I just want to accent, because if I just do accents of this ribbon, then I'll have enough to do another wreath or two, or a bow on a lantern if I want to do that. So I'm just adding, just think of it as an accent in here. So I'm literally just using 2 loops. That's it. It's just an accent. It's just getting 2 loops. Even though it is my favorite, it is also the most expensive ribbon in here. So I just am going to do 2 loops, and that way I can save it and use it for other projects, or a lamp, or maybe a lamp post outside of the door, etc. Then I'm going to come in with the green velvet, and again, this is also kind of an accent. This is wired velvet, but see, it's a little bit floppy as well. So I'm going to take this, put this little tendril down here first, going in the bottom. And this is another one. I'm just going to add just a few loops just for some color variety here. Okay, I'm not going to go crazy on this one, but I just want to add a little bit more color to my wreath. And also, when I picked out some additional sprays, these colors were all in there, right? It had this pretty green, this kind of a mossy, soft green. It had the blue in it. So I'm going to make one more twist here. Oops, hold that in with my thumb. One more twist to make a 3-loop bow. And the reason I'm doing a 3-loop bow right here is I'm going to come back in with that blue on the very top. Okay, so I've got that. Got all that working for me. Look at all those colors. So pretty. See all that? How that all comes together? Now I'm going to bring in this 1-inch, which is like the most popular thing on earth right now. I'm telling you, it's so crazy. And on this, I'm just going to use this little blue, and I'm literally just making a 1 loop right here, because my ribbon's already kind of getting expensive with that big blue. I just need a little accent of blue to tie it all in. So I don't need a whole lot. And really, with just 1 loop of that, you get the point. You get what I'm trying to do there. So look how pretty that is. Okay, let's use our zip ties now and secure that all together before my hand goes numb. I see some designers are like, if your hand goes numb, you're holding it wrong. I'm like, no, I have really short fingers. And when I put all of this ribbon together, it cramps my hands no matter what I do. Now, we do have a bow maker that makes life a little bit more simple. But when I come in and I film these videos, honestly, I'm on such a time crunch to do this that I don't break out the bow maker, because I can do it so much faster with my own hands, because I've made thousands of bows. Thousands! Which is probably also why my hands cramp. Okay, there we go. Clipping that off. Look at that beautiful bow. Isn't that going to look so special? All right, let's take this and let's make all of our ends look adorable and look finished and polished. Not like we just did this in our garage and didn't care after we made it to make it look pretty when we hung it up. So I'm going to dovetail all of those. Now tell me, if you are a professional bow maker, meaning you've made a bow or 2 in your life, do you have some amazing scissors that help? These scissors are amazing, but I make so many bows, they're almost getting dull again, so I'm probably going to have to get out the sharpener here. Okay, there we go. Spectacular. Now I'm just going to leave these alone for right now, and I'm going to show you why here in just a second. But let's go ahead and fasten this to our wreath so we can see what we're working with. And then I'm going to show you the design of how we're going to put this wreath together. All right, so I'm going to grab my wreath up here. I'm going to kind of turn my wreath and decide where I want the top, where I want the base to be. And sometimes that's just by looking and seeing if there's any holes in the wreath at all. There's really not in this one. It's really well made and put together. So I'm just going to pick a spot, all right? And then you have to determine, do you want your bow to be on the very top of your wreath, on the base of your wreath? How do you want your wreath to go? Most of the time, I like my wreath to, or my bow to be on one side. And then especially if I'm making like 2 wreaths for a front door, I'll put the bow on this side, and then on the other wreath, I'll put it on the other side. So let's do this. I'm going to get this close to me here where I can reach it, because this wreath is already really, really big. I'm going to put my zip tie in here the way it should be. And I'm going to just attach this right here to my wreath. So I'm just zipping it in there. I got to get that zip tie in there. All right, there we go. So I attached 2 zip ties together to make this just a little bit easier for me to attach, because you guys saw how I was riding the struggle bus there for a second trying to get that through that wreath. Okay. Look how pretty it already is. So pretty. And this just, I mean, that just speaks to me. I don't know about you, but boy, to me, that just says, hello, fall. All right. I'm not going to fuss with the bow too much, because as I make this wreath, I'm going to smash the bow. I'm going to move it around, not on purpose by any means, but it's just the nature of how I work with the wreath. So I'm going to keep my bow a little bit on the other side. So this is the top of my wreath right here. I've got a bow that kind of comes down on one side in particular on my wreath. And I'm going to use that then to have all of my other really pretty fall picks start kind of cascading out and down and around, right? That's what I'm going to do. Now I have some pumpkins that I've added to wreaths today, and I have a couple of extras. So you know what? I might just go ahead and just add those in here too, because I think this would be quite spectacular in my wreath. So let's do that. If you didn't watch my other video that I made it today, but let's just be honest, it probably won't release at the exact same time. So if you didn't watch it, you can go and watch, and I show exactly how you add in these pumpkins to the wreath. And I'm not going to be quite as detailed in this video, but you'll be able to watch and see what I'm about to do. So I got my glue plot over here. I'm taking my little pumpkin here. I'm going to look at exactly where I want that in my wreath. I'm going to take this little stick, poking it in just like this into my pumpkin. And then that I'm going to take and put some glue in and stick that into my wreath. That is how I stick that pumpkin in there. And then the other thing that you can do is come in with a little bit of, I'm going to stick that right in. How do I want that one? Right in here. That's where I want it. I can come in with wire then as well and wire that pumpkin to my wreath. And let me show you how I do that. Take this wire stick right here, piece of green floral wire. I'm going to come in right over here where my pumpkin is. And I'm going to kind of take this, I bend it just slightly, kind of trying to make a like a wide V. And I'm going to stick that in right here on the side. And basically what I'm trying to do is go in one side of my pumpkin here, right kind of towards the back where you're not going to see it. And I hope that that V shape just comes right out the other side of my pumpkin as well. Okay, I'm going to catch it right back here on the back side, my wire. And then I'm going to poke that wire through this wreath because it's a grapevine wreath. There's holes all in this wreath. You just got to find them. I'm going to stick that in. Catch that on the other side. Oops, hopefully go in there, please. I'm talking nicely to you, Wreath. Please work. Okay, got my wire bent up there somewhere. Oh, that is the joy of grapevine. Sometimes it's just wonderful, and then other times you don't know where in the world in the abyss of the grapevine your wire is ending up. Here we go, I found it. Let's see if I can pull that out with these clippers. Here we go. Okay, got my wire on the other side. I'm taking this pumpkin here, and I'm just going to double secure that in the back right here with my wire. That's all I'm doing. Just taking that wire, and I just want that pumpkin so it's not going to move. That's what I'm looking for right there. Okay, come in with my wire cutters here, twisting that around real good. And then I like to take that wire and I bend it. I'm doing this left-handed, y'all. I bend it down, and I usually try to poke it right back into that wreath so it's not going to scratch your door or anything like that, okay? So there's one pumpkin secured. Look at that. That baby's not going anywhere. The other thing I'll do is I'll bring either glue from my glue pot, or I'll take glue from the glue gun, and I'll just secure that in place just with a few more dabs of glue, just to make sure that that's truly not going to move on me. It's not going to go anywhere. So there's my little pumpkin. And then I'm going to come in with my little squatty pumpkin here. And I like to put my little squatty pumpkin right underneath. Right there. Look how cute that fits in. Now, earlier I did a wreath, and the wreath was much smaller. So these pumpkins are pretty large. So it's a little bit harder to get that in exactly how I wanted it. But this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take in a little dab of glue here. Right where I have my finger, my pointer finger, right where that hits the wreath. Putting that glue in, and I'm going to take this part and I'm just going to stick it literally right down in my wreath with the glue. Get my glue pot. And honestly, sometimes I'll even just take glue from my glue pot and just spread it around the base of the pumpkin too, so that when I stick this into the wreath, not only is the stick glued, but I've got some glue on the base of my pumpkin right there too. So I know that it's also going to stick in there quite nicely. Okay, here we go. Here's the magic of making it stick right in there, right underneath my other pumpkin. So I've kind of got a little pumpkin stack going on. See how cute that is? And I can move that down just a little bit more so they look like they're literally stacked. Okay, now this is where the fun part comes with all the pretty leaves. I'm going to take these leaves, and I'm just going to kind of methodically just kind of start placing them throughout my wreath. I'm going to clip these little branches, clipping them all off, because that gives me more control over where I'm putting these pretty little leaves. And again, this is a cheat wreath, right? So remember, the whole wreath is already covered. Now we just have to make where we put these new picks in make sense, okay? So we just want to add some fun, some pops of color, and we just want to make that all make sense. We're not trying to cover the entire wreath. We're just showcasing a collection of pumpkins and leaves and stems that are just a little bit different than the rest of the wreath, right? It's just our little focal point here. That's what we're making with this. So I'm going to taking and spreading these leaves out and around, and I have several of these stems of this coloration. I have several of these because they're so pretty, and it just adds so much color and softness to this wreath. I'm just taking and around my wreath, I'm just finding where I want to make this collection of leaves all make sense, okay? And again, like I just said just seconds ago, the wreath is already covered. It's already covered in beautiful stems. So we're just adding just a little bit more here. Okay? That's all. Just adding some more, adding some color, adding some variety into our leaves, into our pumpkins, wherever they may be. All right, so I'm just keeping that little collection going. Same thing, now I got to come up here to the top of my pumpkins and add in some stems to my cheat wreath. I'm going to come right up here, right in there, add a pretty stem right up there at the top. See that one? Okay, one more pretty stem to go. Love these. This is one of my favorite leaves of this season. It has all the pretty colors on it. It's soft colors, which I really, really like. So this has definitely been a seasonal favorite. And so I'm maybe going to take that and just kind of come up my wreath even just a little bit too. It's all about adding in, right? It's a cheat wreath. So we're not trying to redo the whole dang thing. We're just cheating. We're just cheating and adding. You know, the other thing is, if you ever get these little glue droplets, it's so easy. Just pull them off where you don't work. If they show up in places you don't want them, you just pull those little babies off, okay? No questions asked. Just get them out of there. Coming in the inside of my wreath as well. We don't want that to look empty and sparse up and around our pumpkins. Okay, I want to make sure I get that all taken care of as well. And then I'm going to come right over here to the end of this and make one more pretty addition right down here in the bottom. Because, you know, the bottom of your wreath, it tends to be a little bit heavier with your picks anyway. So I'm going to add that right down here. Look at how beautiful that is. Sheet wreath, so simple, so easy to add. Just all we did was add pumpkins and add those picks. Now, should we add some of this? Why not? Let's do it. All right, so this is the Chinese lanterns. These are great. There's, you get 4 in a little pack here. And I like to take these, and I usually try to do a collection of 2 together at a time. All right, so I've got these 2. I'm going to take and see on the end of my stem, I keep one just a little bit longer than the other. All right, so they don't look just like 2 little antennas. I'm clipping that stem because I don't need it quite that long. And I'm going to take and I'm going to insert these in where I kind of feel like it's going to make sense for me to have these little guys sticking out. Now that can be back over here behind my bow and my ribbon. That can be coming out and along over here next to my pumpkins. So let's take these 2 first ones and let me put those in right down here at the bottom of my wreath, coming out and down around my pumpkins and coming up. Let's start there with these guys. Attaching those to my wreath. Poking them down in there. Bringing these little guys up and around. Okay. Clipping these. Taking one, making it a little bit longer than the other. Okay, to give us a little bit of variety here. Okay. Dipping them in a good amount of glue also. Oop. Okay, I'm going to take these and add these in right under my pumpkins right here. Okay, so it's going to be coming out and away from our wreath. There. Ooh, I love it. It's looking so cute. Got another little package of these I'm going to do the same thing with. Put that over there. Separate these all out. Do some clipping. I don't need them to be so long. Okay. And I like to do these in pairs, as you can kind of see. So remember, I'm going to pull one down. So see the stem difference? About 2 inches. Maybe not quite. An inch, inch and a half. Clip that so that they clip the same length. That way when I put my glue on it, it's about, I'm going to stick it in about the same length, okay? So I take that and stick these right up in here. Right into where my pumpkins are. Maybe even give them a little bit of a curl here. Come out and away from my wreath. All right, are you ready to see the finished product? Oh my gosh, hang on. I got real quick. Get all my little glue things off. I've got to curl up the little tendrils of our 1-inch ribbon here. I haven't quite fixed where all of our ribbon is on our bow. But that's okay, because when I put this on my door, I'm going to probably rearrange it and fix it a little bit anyways. But let's take a look at our cheat wreath. Here it is. All right. Hard to kind of probably see a little bit. Let me pull all these ribbons out and forward in our wreath right here. And like I said, I'm always, of course, going to fluff this up just a little bit so that we can kind of see it. But this is our cheat wreath right here. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I love the blue coming in and out and around. Those pops of green are beautiful. Obviously, the pumpkins are gorgeous too. And I hope you enjoyed this. It was fun to make. I know this one is not going to last long in the store for sure. And I am so excited that you guys joined me. Again, hit that subscribe button because that helps us out so much, and it helps us reach other people who want to know all the beautiful things that you know from watching this video. So thank you so much. All these items are at ambermarieandcompany.com, and stay tuned because Christmas is coming.